So it is March 24th, and we are about to transplant into the high tunnel. We have red onions, yellow onions, green cabbage, sorrel, mizuna, kale, two kinds of kale, Swiss chard, tatsoi, beets. Right now, we have Lee and Madison pulling all the weeds that remain to mitigate any overwintering pests that might be still in here, so we don't have pest problems. Look at you guys. You're about 1% done. So now that everything has been tilled, it's nice and ready to sow seed or transplant our transplants. So we've got 7 rows to do. Okay, so these are our emitters, and this is the punch tool to make a hole in the blue lay flat so we can insert these guys. So just kind of stick it in there like that, grip down, and you got your hole. So now when you want to put these in, what you got to do is unscrew this end. This is the part that goes in the blue lay flat. Leave a little gap like that, then take it and kind of hold it with your thumb so it doesn't move on you when you're trying to put it in. And now I grab the hose, kind of open it up, and then go in straight at an angle and push, and then kind of push one way and push down at the same time, and then it pops right in. And then you can hold that piece that's still in the hose and tighten the whole thing up so no water escapes right here. When it's nice and tight, you're good to go. Okay, so now we're gonna unroll the drip tape for each of our rows. This is how we irrigate our crops. I'll hold this end and Lee will unravel it. And once she's at the length we need, I'm gonna go down like this and open this drip tape up so it can slide over our emitter right here. And you're gonna wanna push it on there as far as possible. And then when you think you've got it on there good, you can tighten it up like that so it holds it. Now we're gonna go down to this end where Lee is. We'll cut it We'll make sure that this blue side is laying face down because that's where our emitters are. You can kind of see there's a little slit there, about every 6 or 8 inches. Now we're going to tie it off so the water doesn't just run out the end. Tie it tight. And then we're going to stake it down, and we're going to put our stake in front of our knot so it doesn't come undone. So when now you might have to step on it, make sure it's all the way in the ground. Oh. That. See, and then that knot will keep it from sliding that way. Now we're going to do that for the rest of the high tunnel. Alright, so our drip tape is all laid out, irrigation is hooked up. Next step is I've laid out all the transplants in the proper rows that they're supposed to go in according to my planting map. And now what I like to do is pull them out of their cell packs and kind of get the spacing going. So if you grew good transplants, you'd be able to just pull them out like that. If you didn't, then you're not going to be able to do that. So kind of like that. You want to kind of picture the size of the cabbage that you're going to have. So since we got this many transplants and that's our spacing right now, I'm going to go like this instead. Try to maximize our room here. So we'll space them like that. And these are a rather large variety. So I'm giving them a little extra space. So I'll lay them all like that before I plant them, and I'm about to do that for all of my transplants. Alright, so now we've got most of our transplants laid out. Notice this is where our cabbage is, and you see it's got a little bit wider spacing than, say, our kohlrabi or kale. That's just based on how the plant's gonna grow and the size of it. So the kale's a little closer because we're gonna keep cutting it once we start harvesting it, which won't be too long from now. It's already a decent size. And then I'm gonna show you how to plant this. So you could use a trowel or another hand tool, whatever you'd like, but I like to use my hands. So just make a nice, kind of break the roots up a little bit and then make a nice hole. You can kind of let it slide right in, cover it back up, and just keep going. And you really want to just make sure you feather the roots on the bottom a little bit so it encourages the roots to spread out when they're in the soil. Cover it back up. Just keep going like that until you got all your transplants in. Notice they're nice and close to the drip tape so they'll grow well. Well, we're gonna have some happy plants. That's what I was just gonna say. It's like Bob Ross. Alright, so we got all our transplants laid out. Now it's time to plant them. Notice these are close together compared to our cabbage down there that is spaced further apart. So they're spaced based on the size that they will be in the future. So now when we want to plant, we're just going to kind of break up the roots on the bottom a little bit, encourage root growth once they go into the ground, spread the soil, push it back around. Happy plants. See, do it again, just like that. Kind of just let it slide down into the hole there. And then you just keep going like that. Boom, done. So now we're gonna do our Swiss chard, tatsoi, mizuna, and sorrel. So we got our handy dandy tools. Can you turn off the music? A pencil. So the thing about these little trays is if they're not rooted enough, so that's nice, but if they're not rooted enough, you can use a pencil to kind of poke them right out. See, like that. That one's dead. So let's do a live one. That one is also dead. There we go. So see, like that. Just poke it right out. And so...
Should I just pick them up?
Yeah. Yep, and then you can just pull them out. So we're going to do that as we go. Use the recommended spacing. And we'll probably do a row on each side of the drip tape. So we'll go like this. And kind of space them out evenly. So it'll end up looking like that for our pattern all the way down. Tatsoi is an Asian green, and so is mizuna. That's what Madison's planting over there. And Lee's got the Swiss chard. Same family as beets.
Chiandoxaceae.
Yeah. Good job, Lee.
Yep.
So we're gonna go down the rest of these rows.
Am I thinning
Finish this
these?
off.
'Cause they're...
Yep, and yeah, we'll
put it in and then thin it?
yeah, I would just pull them out and then put one in each spot. So now we've got all our transplants in the ground. So we are going to make sure this guy is on. This is our timer, but you can turn it on or off manually so the water will just run. Open the spigot. Timer's looking a little rough. And so what I like to do is hand water everything in before I just rely on the irrigation, at least the first time. So I'll just go lightly over all the transplants. You want to hold that hose as I go down this row. So you'll see just nice amount of water. Make sure you hit everything. Make sure you really saturate it too. You want them to have enough water. So yeah, nice and gentle. And so now I'm gonna go ahead and water everything. All right. All right, so now what we're gonna do is I just hooked up the hose to our irrigation and we're gonna set our timer. I like to normally do it for like an hour. So just spin this guy up to an hour, open the spigot, and you'll notice this will start filling up with water.
That valve's open.
Gotta check your valves. Make sure the right ones are open and the right ones are closed. So it appears all our valves are open and we're gonna be good. Oh, here's one. Sweet. So now we'll let that run for about an hour. Let everything get really well watered in. You can see the hose starting to expand now. In a minute you'll notice the drip tape line starting to expand. So now what we're doing is placing our wire hoops because it still gets a little chilly overnight and we want to kind of avoid the transplant shock too. So we're going to put all these wire hoops down, spaced about 3 feet apart roughly, and then we'll come in and we'll put row cover over them, all the plants, and you'll see that next.
Do it the other way or unroll it this way? Wait,
this is fine.
Explain what I'm doing before we do this.
Yeah, so you're gonna stand there and hold it, and we're gonna unroll it, and then we're gonna stake it down. So we're unrolling our row cover. Lee almost killed our transplants.
I was looking at this little hole in it.
And once we have enough length, we'll set it down. And then now we are going to cut the row cover. You need a pair of scissors, which Lee has. You can cut it. And then we'll grab our stakes, which are over here. Excuse me, Lee. And we'll stake down the sides. So what we do on the ends, take a nice stake. Most of these are in rough shape. There's one. We'll kind of roll, make sure they're equal lengths on each side. Then we'll roll it up kind of like that. I like to go in between the irrigation. And then we'll take this stake right here and we'll pin it down like that. Kind of hard to get that one in there. Oh, there we go. And now we're gonna go down the sides. What we do is kind of roll it up like that. And same idea, then you want to pinch that in with your stake. And now we're gonna do that all the way down. So there we have it. Everything's planted under row cover. In a couple of weeks we'll pull the row cover once it gets a little warmer. Right now we're gonna let everything get watered in for another probably 30 minutes. Thanks for coming to the lab.